Hey guys, it's Kate, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I'm back with my White Nights granulating watercolors, and I thought I would do a few blobs, maybe that look a little bit like rocks. So I'm going to use a few different colors in here, and I'm going to stick with a little bit of the darker colors. And I'm going to, I think, go with the hematite mist first. So what I'm going to do is have the shadowy side on the left, and I'm going to start right here at the bottom. And these colors in this palette are just really wonderful. And so I'm just going to do an easy stone here. I'm dipping my brush into my water and then just spreading out the rest. That way we can have it lighter on the right and darker on the left. And then what I might also do is just drop in some extra color around the edge and let that kind of travel in. And I'm going to choose another color next, and I think I might go for this violet mist. This is kind of like a dark gray that has some pink tones to it. And I might put another little rock right here. And this is just a perfect rock color. So I'm going to dip into my water. I'm going to let it touch a little bit. And actually, that's even a little bit too much water. So I'm going to mop a little bit of that up. I am letting it touch the rock on the bottom. And then I'm going to come in here and grab a little bit more paint and drop that in to darken it up a bit. And I'm going to maybe put a little bit here in the bottom so that it can flow into the bottom rock where it's touching and get some of that granulating action. Next, I'm going to go into the cobalt mist. I'm going to grab some water on my brush and just get this nice and activated and a good brush load of paint. And I'm going to do another fun little rock here. I'm going to do a little bit smoother. And let this kind of touch in some spots. Then I'm going to do a rinse and just let the rest of this come together. I'm going to blot back some excess here too. And then grab some more and darken up the left side and underneath. I'm just kind of dabbing my brush down and letting the paint come right off the brush, just like that. Now next, I think I'm going to go into this dark blue shadows. It's really a gorgeous color too. And I'm going to put another dark rock right over here. And maybe I'll kind of have it have a little bit of an irregular shape. I'm going to blot my brush and just let this spread out together, just like that. And then I'm going to go back to this hematite mist. And I'm going to make another decent size rock that goes across and kind of hangs over a bit. And then I'm also going to let it touch that blue rock below it. And I'm going to dip my brush and spread out this color. It's kind of zen painting these. All right. Let's go for another color on here. I'm going to do this gray rose mist. And the crazy thing about this color is when it's in the pan, it almost looks green, but it doesn't have any green in it. It's kind of funny. So I'm going to maybe have this one come over the right a little bit. Just like that. And I'm going to have it come off the edge. I just dabbed my brush in some water, and I'm going to just have this continue to come out. I'm going to blot back excess when I get it because I don't want a bunch of water just pooling on it. So I'm going to make my shape first, and then I can always come back in and drop in a little bit of color here. Do we want to do a green? Maybe we do. Although I love this one. This is that dark. I think I'm going to add some of these blues again. Maybe even this violet mist. That violet mist is also really nice. I'm going to do the cobalt mist again and maybe do a bigger rock that's a little bit taller over here to the left and let that kind of touch. I'm going to blot my brush and then bring the rest of this out. And then I can drop in some nice dark color on the left here. All right, back to the violet mist. I'm going to do a long flat rock coming out further than everything else. Maybe even a little bit further. We'll have it be a nice wide rock. And I'm kind of blotting my brush and picking up the excess. And then I am going to drop in a little bit more color. I kind of like having these dark edges, but still having some lightness in the middle. I think that looks pretty cool. And I'm going to add a little bit more color over here. And as this dries, the color kind of starts to separate a little bit and it looks really pretty. I might make this just a little bit wider on the top so that it's not quite so perfectly flat. I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do one more color. I'm going to go back into this dark blue shadows and do one final rock on the top. And this one, I might make it just kind of small. This looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to get the shape how I want it. And we have a beautiful pile of rocks. Now what I might do is just add a little bit of splash to the outside, and I might choose a totally different color for that. And I think I'm going to go for this lilac mist. And I'm just going to get my brush loaded a bit, and I'm going to come in here and add some simple splashes. And we might get a little bit into our rocks also, but it's just going to add a little bit extra texture to our page and just something kind of fun to loosen it up a bit. So I'm going to let this dry and I'll be back. Okay, so we are all dry and I love how these colors dried. It just looks so beautiful. This palette, I don't know, when you paint it and then after it dries, it looks so different. And I love how the colors separate on here. And I'm really excited to doodle on this watercolor. So I took the tape off from my backing and everything, and I have some black fine liners. I've got a gold pen and I've got my white jelly rolls, and I'm not sure how much white I'm going to use. I'm definitely going to be using quite a bit of black and some gold. I think the gold is going to look so nice on these, and I think a lot of my doodles will probably be gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on one rock at a time, and I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm doing better. So with the gold, I really want all of this wonderful color change and texture to show through. So I'm not going to color in too much like I do on some of my other watercolors. I really want to keep things pretty simple. And so on this one, I'm going to do a little pattern with some of these gold dot marks, and I'm going to have the largest one be in the middle, and then I'm going to have them kind of shrinking as they go to either side of the rock, up and down. And I'm going to do 3 of them over here, and then 1 on the other side, especially against this dark, so you can see it much better. And I love how that looks. It's just very delicate and so simple. And so that's going to be our first little rock. So I'm going to move on to the second one, and I'm going to just stay with the gold all the way up, but I'm going to be kind of strategic about it and a little bit more sparing than I have been in the recent past with my doodles. So I think for this one, I'm going to start at the middle, and I'm going to do some simple loops just to make like a scalloped edge. And then I'm going to continue that dot theme and just go on the top of each of these little scallops. And then for this one, I'm going to do something I've done on some other shapes before. And I'm going to almost make like little loops, almost like there is some string kind of going around the rock and sort of draped around it. And maybe I can do one more kind of coming from here and going down like that. So we just have this nice little pattern that kind of develops. And I think on each one I'm going to put some kind of little circle or dot decoration. And that way that'll be kind of the element that brings all of these together. So I'm just kind of putting them into some sort of random spots on here, just enough for you to see. And then let's move on to this one. So for this one, I think I'd like to do some hash marks around the outside, all the way around, just like that. And then I'm going to put some dots at the end of a few of these, sort of spaced out semi-evenly, and then maybe a little group of them in the corner here, just like that. All right, next up, these are going really fast, but I love how they look so far. These are so pretty. Okay, for this one, I am going to do a little pattern all the way across between these two lines. And I think I'm going to do some little zigzag marks on this one. Now, just like with the others, I'm going to do some periodic dots. Okay, up on this one, let's see what other kind of pattern we can do. So I think on this one, I'm going to do some simple circles that are bordering each other, just like that. And then maybe I'll have them start to come apart, and then I can be really sporadic on that side. I think that looks good. All right, 3 more to go. For this one, I'm going to do a line pattern, and I'm going to turn it into a grid, just like that. And then I might add just another couple of lines, almost like an incomplete grid on this side. And I might just carry these right down to the edge, just like that. Now on this one, I'm going to add some more dots, maybe around the inside edge of this little shape here. And then on this next one, I'm going to do some scallops. Now where these edges are kind of fuzzy, I'm just sort of making up an edge in my imagination, so it's not necessarily where the paint ends, but you can't really tell, so it works. You just kind of imagine where the border is and just end your line there, and then it will work just fine. And you can still see all that watercolor texture coming through here. So there is our next one. And on this top one, I think I'm going to do a radial pattern as sort of the icing on the cake. And so I'm going to do a series of circles. And where the paint kind of ends, I'm just going to pick up my pen. And so here is the start. And I'm going to start by adding some dashes to this section, some dots to this section, and then a zigzag. And I'm kind of bringing in those patterns that we have in our lower level. And then what else do we want? How about we do some scallops on this last one, just around where we have that border on the side, just like that. And so now we have all of our gold, and I really love how this looks so far. So next, I'm going to grab one of my finer ones. This is a 0.3 tip, and I'm going to make a few little things coming off of the top of our rocks, almost like there's little plants growing. So on this one, I'm going to make some sort of squiggly lines, and I'm going to group them together and just kind of have them coming up off of the rock. And I'm going to have them ending at different spots. And then on the top of each of these lines, I'm going to put another little black dot. So this will be a bit of a plant. And what's kind of funny with this is we have that splatter effect, which kind of makes it seem like there's even more. All right, so I'm going to leave that there. On this one, I'm going to do some little leaves, and on the end of each little string I'm going to put one leaf instead of the usual sort of vine that I make. These are just going to be small and delicate to go with the rest. I really want the watercolor to shine here. So there's our little leaves and our little tendril plant items. I'm going to put some over here. And on this one, I'm going to put almost like little grasses coming up, but thick. And I'm just going to color them in. Now I've got a few here, and I want to maybe add some more. So I've got them kind of spaced apart. What I want to do is add a few that are kind of peeking out from behind a couple of these, so it looks a little bit more full. Just like that. And that's really pretty. All right, on this one, I'm going to do something similar to down here, but I'm going to make them flat. And I'm going to go in a few different directions, and we're going to put a little loop on top, almost like they're cattails or something. And I want them to look a bit different than these, so I'm trying to make them more rounded so that it doesn't look like it's just repeating the exact pattern. And that's really cute there. All right, I'm going to do another one on this side, and I think for this one I want to do, so on here I've got these really fine thin ones, and I've got some more thin stems. These ones are a little bit more chunky, and it already looks a little heavier on this side, and since I'm putting a third one up here, I want to do something very fine. And what I might actually just do is a few little, almost like blades of grass, just very simple with nothing else on them, just sort of growing up off of this rock. And it's just a very fine texture. Now what I want to do is have a few of them be longer and a few be shorter so that it doesn't look like they're all the exact same height. And I think I'm just going to call that good, just like it is. Now I was thinking about adding some white to this, and I was sort of on the fence about it, but I actually really like it just like this, and it's very simple, and we have plenty of white space on the paper, so I don't think it's really missing the white. We have lots of contrast here, especially with these little extra things that I've got on my rocks, and I love how this one turned out. So I hope this gave you some ideas, and I hope that you try something like this with the supplies that you have on hand. I'm going to give you the close-up so you can see the gold and all the sparkle and everything, and this one was a lot of fun. And you can really get crazy with these. You can see that sparkle from the gold pen. This might be one of my favorites. It's just so simple, but just very nice looking. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating.